Thank you. It's such a joy to be here with you this Sunday. You free my soul, the joy that you have, this community of love, of kindness. So thank you for inviting me, always. Thank you. I love speaking about the topic of freedom, as difficult as pinning that wonderful feeling is, pinning it into words. But it challenges me to the core. It challenges me to the core of my own history, of my family's history, and challenges, I think, the deepest spiritual parts of me. And so I'm very grateful to be speaking about this topic to you as well. And I know July 4th just passed, right? It was Independence Day, where we really get to speak about freedom in this country. And as a child, my mother's American. If you don't know my background, my father's Algerian, and our Independence Day is July 5th. And we are celebrating our independence from France, which is yesterday, July 14th. So this is kind of a rich month for me historically. And if you happen to know my family's history, my grandfather and grandmother were the revolutionaries in the Algerian Revolution. And they were treasurers, and they held the money to fund the revolution itself. And I just share this with you because it is such a deep human core need, freedom. And their story is my story. It is our story. It is the story of this country, regardless of what country we're talking about, whether it's France, Algeria, or the United States. And for my grandfather and my grandmother, the Quran was very much a cornerstone of their belief system. And one of the verses that informed them and their way of life is this verse, the 33rd. It states that it is for the exercise of freedom that God created us. That it is for the exercise of freedom that God created us. And the richness of that statement, how contradictory it may seem, one would consider that God is the ultimate freedom, that this force of life, of love, of presence has that freedom, yet we were the creation to embody, to live out, to be a presence for and a vessel for this freedom, this constant force of pushing, of looking for more, of creating a greater unity, a greater oneness. And in and of itself, a journey back towards God. That Quranic verse, I certainly remember my grandparents uttering it quite often, was the foundation of their freedom work. And we know in this country as well that the work of freedom is deeply, deeply embedded in the spiritual work and lives of many folks. And yet, that work is a deeply human one. This is not completely conceptual where it's God is doing this through us, I get to sit back. It is a healthy tension, this conversation with freedom. And I would just want to share with you three things that I think freedom really, really informs, gives, is a gift in our lives. First is that it's really an instigator of greater awareness. It's always needling, prodding a little bit, and asking us these difficult questions. Asking us in our discomfort, asking us in our disquiet, asking us during our heartbreak, when we feel ourselves bound by our beliefs, our situation, our past, and yet recognizing at the same time that in just asking the question, we are subtly but truly believing that there is another way, another possibility, another journey forward. The second gift is that it is one that freedom continually forces us in our learning to shed, to let go. And to let go in ways that forces us to become more attuned, more one, less separation, just like the song was saying, raising the veil. There is no separation between me and my God. In my current spiritual practice, I look at Taoism, and I hold that just as dearly as the Quran. And in one of the verses it states, to become learned, gain daily. To obtain Tao, reduce daily. Reduce and reduce again until all action is reduced to non-action. Then no one is left. Nothing is done, yet nothing is left undone. And here is the journey. That first line, to become learned, gain daily. That awareness, that being attuned to what is stirring within us, those feelings of disquiet, displeasure, divine discontent, those are our teacher, moment by moment. Freedom in and of itself is telling us, free those experiences so that they may become one with you and that you may learn from them and that they may free you in return. And to obtain Tao, to obtain that utmost peace, that understanding, that knowing, reduce daily, says the Tao. That shedding, that freeing of what we believe in, holding on to it for dear life, that attachment. I often find that finding a new perspective may be the most difficult thing, yet it is only when we create that vacuum of life, where we let go of something, that we really create that space for something new to come in. And so, reduce and reduce again until all action is reduced to non-action. We are busy people. We got a lot of things to do. They keep us quite busy from our lives, don't they? We're making plans and life is happening while we're making those plans. But that's not the life. That's not our life. That's not the life in capital L, of the expression of God living as us, as freedom itself, living through and as us. So to look at our lives slightly differently, they're not these transactional things where I show up here, this happens, I come back, do this tomorrow, come back tomorrow for work, go make dinner, whatever you have on your laundry list of things. It is really a daily weeding of the garden, a daily looking at all that is coming up for us, all these difficulties, difficult conversations, difficult moments, points where we have struggles with our understanding. Something comes up to challenge us. Sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's health, sometimes it's just a difficult conversation. All of these moments are our teacher. Welcome them with open arms as you would welcome a guest into your home. And I believe this is freedom's true gift. It breaks down barriers. So if my grandfather or grandmother were fighting, they were fighting so that their kids could go to school like the French kids. My grandfather here in the US fought in World War II because he truly believed that we were created equal. And so those barriers, and it is a journey, isn't it? We are seeing that the expansiveness of equality, of liberty, is continually expanding. The circle is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And thank God for that. That is life. It is always growing, always evolving. For our own lives, may we consider all that occurs part of that ever-evolving circle. All experiences. Just ask ourselves, have I included it in the circle of my life? Is it a part of my true experience? Will I learn from this experience? And I believe the third great gift of freedom is that it is really what love feels like when it's in action. That for you to have passion about something, to feel it conjure the things to the core of you that require you to act, that is love right there. That is God right there. And I keep using these words, but I do believe they all mean the same thing. God, love, freedom are all the same expression of this one thing. And there is freedom once again breaking down these barriers and bringing greater and greater unity to all things. Freedom in and of itself is bigger than the fear. It makes room for the fear. It emancipates the fear that lives within each of us. So even fear itself, when it comes to visit you and sit at your doorstep, welcome fear in. Fear has something for us. Freedom will allow fear to be transformed from a wall in our way to guide rails in our lives. Freedom has wisdom. Fear has wisdom. They are all part of the journey. Freedom in and of itself, too, is unconditional in its love and in its expression of love, because it is love. And true freedom, my talk today was titled, what is it titled? Freedom, a Path Inward. And I truly believe that, one, to demonstrate what is outward, it must be an inside job, right? We have to start somewhere on the inside, cultivate our own garden. And it is an inside job first. This doesn't mean solitary, but it is our work to do, to clear the way, to tend to our thoughts, our beliefs, because we know we are perfectly made. And that belief is the undertow to this prodding that freedom is constantly giving us. We constantly move forward little by little because we know deep down we are perfectly made. That goodness, that God resides within us, that love, this force that emanates from our hearts so deeply for so many things, for all things, is the truth of who we are. Harriet Tubman at one point stated, when she was late in her life, that when she realized she was truly free, that she had crossed a line. She said, "I was free, but there was no one to welcome me to the land of freedom. I was a stranger in a strange land." And that may be what it feels like. But just know the party's always right behind you. It really is. All the moments in your lives, if you were to look back and conjure the moments where you felt at your most solitude, your most alone, those were probably breakthrough moments where you got to pivot, where something got to be let go, where a change really happened. And so she continued, if you want a taste of freedom, keep going. Keep going. That's my message to you today. Keep going. Keep going. Be connected and remain connected to your heart. It will always be connected to you. It will always inform you. Let go. Shed that which no longer serves you. Be grateful for it. It has served you at one point. This is the part about speaking to the past. Our past is our greatest gift, but let it not become our baggage. It's not cute. And then the third really is to really see that love, this force that is deep within our hearts, our bodies, is freedom in action. It is what propels us forward. So whether it's July 4th, July 5th, July 14th, may we recognize that freedom is not just on a specific day. It's every day. It's every moment. It's every experience, every thought. We get to practice and be with freedom and emancipate ourselves, emancipate our thoughts, emancipate our experience, emancipate our relationships. And as we do that, as we break barriers, we recognize that this community here is the greater out there, that we're breaking barriers all around us, and that this one big heart keeps living onward, outward, and the circle keeps growing. So my questions to you this week, what I leave you with is, always just ask, is this within the circle of my life? Have I made a home for this experience too? And what is it here to teach me and free me from? We are truly free, yet our funny little minds kind of get lost and forget that all the time. Let's just keep asking. And so it is. Amen.